Hey, hi, and welcome. All right. Before we get into this, I just want to make sure people understand too. You have to be careful what genre you pick to get into when it comes to photography because there's actually so much opportunity that you can get a bit of the dog and the bone effect. You know, where the dog runs along, he's got a bone in his mouth, he sees a puddle, he sees another dog with the bone in his mouth, he barks at that dog to take his bone, then drops his bone in the puddle and loses it, never to get it again because he got greedy. Well, photography is kind of the same thing. Usually, you're going to pick a niche that you're going to specialize in at some point. Now, if automotive photography is something you're really interested in, there's lots of car shows and stuff like that you can go to and stuff like that. Take the photos. It doesn't cost you anything to take the photos. The hard part is selling the photos, is because of copyright and stuff like that. If there, for example, a lot of stock agencies won't even take pictures if the car is the focus of the picture, they won't take it because there's an advertising. It's not advertiser friendly in the sense of that it's advertising for a brand of automotive vehicle. Chev, Corvettes, or Chevy, Ford, Dodge, Nissan, whatever it might be. And sometimes that can stop you. But there's usually, if you're thinking like in terms of like calendars or possibly with some automotive magazines, these can be great opportunities for you. And again, usually most people try the stock agencies, but sometimes if, let's say, your favorite magazine, Red Punch Bug, punch bags. There's nobody around me to punch, but I just thought I'd throw that there. But sometimes if you talk to the editor of a magazine, because there are still a lot of automotive magazines to pick from on the market, and you go into any, corner store, you'll see hot rod magazines of all types. And sometimes if you can get something pretty good, there's two ways to go about it. Number one, you can just send in the photo and they might be able to use the photo. But if you can send in the photo with a story, here, I met this guy, he owns this car, he told me all about the car, so you write it down and you send in the story on his behalf. Sometimes that'll work, that type of thing. So if you can do that and you can document especially like a rare car, something that not everybody gets to see, such as the next one coming up, you're going to love it. It's one of my favorite cars. This was the Princess Auto car show back in 2008. Yes, this Trans Am, this beautiful SD Trans Am, 69, 68, or 71. I can't remember what year it is, but this thing it was just gorgeous. It just stood out in the parking lot, and there's not a lot of those things around, so you can use this photography for sure. The other thing too is a lot of guys want a good photography of their car and that type of thing. So they want to make a poster of their car or something like that. Maybe they've got a digital camera, but one that doesn't take big enough stills to be able to get a good digital resolution so that they can blow up the picture. So there's all kinds of things you can do. But this is just something that I thought people should look into if they're interested. It's just another idea. I didn't make a lot of money doing these. I usually made about $100, $40, $100 to do the show for the day type of thing. And it was always good because I had exclusivity on these. I did two car shows for this group. They were known as the Mad Misfits, and they would hold car shows all throughout, Ontario type of thing. And they do this twice a year or once a year at Princess Auto when they would do it, and they'd go to the Canadian Tires, they'd go all over the place. And sometimes it's like, okay, well, for their website, they wanted the photos for their website, and I did it, and they paid me a little bit. They didn't pay me a lot, but they paid me a little bit. So it was a fun $100, and I got free hot dogs and hamburgers out of it. So plus I got fed, right? And of course, I'm a bit of a car buff, not a huge car buff, but I like cars, especially these old Corvettes, the C3 Corvettes. I just love them. It is sometimes difficult to take good photos at a car show because of people walking around. There's always somebody kind of blocking your shot, so sometimes you're cropping, as you can see in some of these photos. You can't always crop the best way you want, just because you don't have the room to. But sometimes you can get some nice little tidbits like this, some Elderbrock stuff in there, and whatever. So That said, I guess I'll leave it at about that. But yeah, so automotive photography. I'm going to cover motorcycle as a separate thing, but the same concept. Contact magazines. See what they're looking for. Sometimes, because of the online digital photography now, there's a lot of things that you know you can't, like nobody takes open source photographers now because there's just too many people bugging them. They'd have 100,000 photographers sending them in photos. They've never even go through them. They just block up their email. So a lot of them use stock agencies, but a lot of stock agencies, like say Big Stock's Photo that I use, I tried Almany, but I couldn't get that site to work for me. So maybe it's just that site, but I'm gonna try a couple other sites. But a lot of these sites, they won't take car photos at all. They might take because of the logos and stuff like that. They just can't do it. It's just it's an advertising rule, right? But it doesn't mean car magazines. The car magazines, they're already going to be paying to put out these photos. They're already going to be paying, getting the permission from, Chevrolet or Eldebrock or Ferrari or whoever, or Avapolnik, whatever they're using, or Olin's, whatever brand is in there. They've already set up for that. So this is just some ideas. Again, contact editors, see what they're looking for. A lot of times, just sending in a nice picture isn't enough. If there's a story behind the car, like this, 81 Camaro, if you could say, well, yeah, this guy built it from the ground up, and here's some of the retro, you can, let's say you have a buddy that's restoring a car, document it for him, and then say, here, on an agreement, you allow me to use these photos however I want. That type of thing, because there is always somebody that is going to be, wanting these photos. The question is it's not so much whether these photos are good or bad or whatever. I mean, if they're okay photos, they're okay photos, but it's more of a question of finding your target audience, and that's the hardest part, I think, in photography, is to find the you got the great photo, but you have no place to shop it to. But these are just some ideas. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. So have yourselves a great day, eh?